Hey there, good evening. Thank you for tuning in and for watching this digital check of the First Alert forecast here at the First Alert desk. A lot of weather to talk about as we go deeper into December. And really over the next 7 to 10 days as we approach the holiday season, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, as we get into the start of Hanukkah, it is going to turn cold initially and then downright frigid as we approach the holiday weekend, Christmas weekend, really between about December 22nd and December 25th. Some of the coldest weather in years forecast to filter into really much of the United States along and east of the Continental Divide, the Rocky Mountains, but especially here for North Georgia, the Southeast, one of the coldest Christmases in perhaps a couple of decades here. So something to watch, a lot of weather to talk about. Already this process has begun. As we've been talking about, if you watched Atlanta News First this evening with meteorologist Fred Campagna, chief meteorologist Jennifer Valdez, and myself, talking about how in a pattern like this, when the final solution looking way out there 7 to 10 days out is extreme cold, we tend to kind of step down into that. It doesn't go from very warm to record cold usually in one front. It takes a couple of fronts, and the first one moved through yesterday. Even though we had sunshine today, it is kind of after that front that moved through yesterday that we're going to start to transition back to this colder pattern. So let's go ahead and get to it. Again, outside right now it is chilly, 47 in Atlanta, 42 Carrollton, 41 in LaGrange, 49 Covington and Locust Grove, 46 in Athens, 40 Rome, 45 Canton, 47 in Gainesville. But look, up in the mountains, Blairsville right now is in the upper 30s, so it is certainly on the chilly side across much of North Georgia. And downright cold already, mid to upper 30s in Blairsville. And I think the setup is there tonight. The sky is clear, wind is light, colder air settling in for a frosty one out the door on your Friday morning. In fact, here's a look at temperatures out the door in the morning. It is going to be on the cold side. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s around the metro. A cold start to the last day of the work week and last day of the work week before Christmas. So some folks may even have your Friday off if you have the long week off heading into the holiday season, and it's going to be a cold one, very festive feeling out there. Temperatures upper 30s in Atlanta, 37, Forest Park 37, Embry Hills 37, Palmetto, South Fulton, really much of South Fulton outside of I-285, the perimeter, and the low to mid 30s, 33 Smyrna, 34 in McDonough, Roswell, Lawrenceville, Sugar Hill, and portions of really all of North Gwinnett back into the mid 30s. Beaufort included in that as well. Just a little to the north, 33 in Canton, 32 in Rome, right at the freezing mark in Carrollton, Dalton as well. Maybe just 1 degree above LaGrange, 33, but again, whether it's 31, 30, 34, 35, it's probably going to be fairly frosty out the door tomorrow morning, so just keep that in mind as you head outside. You may want to wake up just a couple of minutes early if you had to park on the street in the driveway overnight, because it's going to be a little frosty out the door. Just a yellow light, a simple heads up that you might have to do some scraping out the door tomorrow morning, especially the back of the windshield, top of the windshield, as it is looking pretty chilly out the door in the morning. And I think that the roofs will be frosty, the grass is going to be frosty. We've already had many frosts and freezes so far this late fall season, so it doesn't, stand a chance to really damage a plant that hasn't already been damaged by some of the cold weather we've had so far this season. But a reminder, if you do have sensitive plants in your garden, if you have been protecting them, and then as it warmed up a little bit, you kind of let that go, tonight is once again a night where you may want to go ahead and cover up the really sensitive stuff, just the most sensitive stuff, the type of plants that will get burned, they'll get fringe there, even if temperatures only cool into the mid to upper 30s. So a transition back to colder weather, but definitely this is just a little taste of what is to come. We'll get back to that forecast starting tomorrow afternoon. Not as mild as it was this afternoon. We had some spots getting up to about 60 today. Tomorrow afternoon, more low to mid 50s. And as the forecast unfolds here into the day tomorrow, it's going to be mostly sunny. Just as much sunshine as today, maybe a high cloud or two, but more sun than anything else. So the second consecutive day of sunshine in North Georgia, Metro Atlanta. It's been a while since we've seen that, but hey, we have it tomorrow, Friday before Christmas. Really the second Friday, I should say, before Christmas. 53 in Atlanta, your high temperature. Gainesville, stay in the upper 40s. So North Georgia, the mountains, 40s tomorrow despite the sun. Brisk day with a breeze. Athens 52, Rome 51, Noonan 53. So jacket's a good idea no matter where you are in North Georgia tomorrow, but it will be coldest north of Metro Atlanta on up into the mountains of North Georgia. And that 7-day forecast, again, as mentioned, and this type of a pattern, we have to kind of step our way gradually into colder weather. And you'll notice that right here in the 7-day forecast, only managing 50 or so Saturday, more clouds, could be a sprinkle or two. Saturday afternoon and evening, not a likely rain chance. Nothing that really gets in the way of any plans. In fact, there's no chance listed on the 7-day there, but I would not be surprised if there were some sprinkles, along with a brief increase in cloud cover on our Saturday. Back to freezing or so in Atlanta Sunday, and a solid freeze back in the 20s. That's the forecast out the door Monday morning. The Monday before Christmas. I know a lot of folks may have all of next week off, but if you are heading into the office or getting up early, it's going to be cold. Temperatures upper 20s inside the perimeter, so mid-20s. Further out, it's going to be a cold start to the work week leading up to Christmas. Tuesday, 51. Wednesday, 51. The first official day of winter, and very fitting. 51 that afternoon, and it's going to be cold every morning next week. In fact, from tomorrow morning on through next Thursday morning, no single morning low temperature is warmer than 40 degrees. In fact, the warmest will be tomorrow morning at 37, actually 38 on Tuesday, so kind of tied there almost. But even those mornings, obviously, still on the chilly side, 37, 38 degrees, not exactly warm starts. But compared to what is coming at the tail end of that 7-day forecast, it is almost kind of warm. Wesley Millsap is checking in from Ackworth. Hello there, Wesley, on Facebook. Again, we're live across many different platforms right now. Atlanta News First, you're viewing the Facebook page. Also, we are live on YouTube, the Atlanta News First account. You can give either a like, a stream, a follow. You'll be alerted to any new posts if you do like or follow those accounts. And of course, you can just join in into the stream now. But if you do like either of those accounts, whether it's on Facebook Atlanta News First or YouTube Atlanta News First, you'll be able to be alerted to new live streams, including weather chats like this one. We have them about twice a day, 10:30 and again 8 o'clock in the evening. Back to that 7-day forecast. And again, if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, maybe you're watching on Roku, Amazon Fire, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, the news app, the weather app. It's great, but if you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, you want to converse about the weather, our social streams right now, monitoring both Facebook, the Atlanta News First account, and YouTube, Atlanta News First. Those are kind of the places to be and where we can chat weather. And if you have any clarification needed with the forecast, or if you have any weather questions, especially about planning with this holiday season, a lot of folks traveling, those are going to be the places to be. All right, so 7-day forecast will end it on Thursday. Temperatures only warming to the low to mid 40s. First alert, cold blast. I think Thursday, that is next Thursday, so a week from today, almost to the hour, it's looking like much colder air will start to filter into North Georgia, Metro Atlanta. In fact, here is that forecast, bitter cold forecast to filter into the United States. This is not just the southeast that could be impacted. But a holiday cold blast is looking likely. You can see there in the text, cold is more certain, rather, becoming more certain, but possibly not just cold, but extreme cold in the forecast. But there is a lot of uncertainty there as far as the details. So we know it's going to get cold. And in all likelihood, it's going to be significant cold, verging on breaking some records there, especially afternoon high temperature records as we get into the holiday weekend. But exactly how cold, exactly how long it lasts, and more specifically also, let's not forget, with it being that cold, are we going to be dealing with any wintry weather, rain, freezing rain rather, sleet, snow? Can't rule out that possibility. This is going to be something we're going to have to watch pretty closely over the next several days. And of course, it being a busy holiday travel span there from the 22nd, 23rd on through Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the 26th, coming back home. All the more reason to keep an eye on that forecast, something we're watching pretty closely here for you and will be worth attention over the next several days, because it is looking likely we will have a frigid holiday weekend. That's the certainty, but exactly how cold it gets, that is kind of the big question right now. Here's a layout of high temperatures for the next several days. And you notice 53 on Friday, 50 Saturday, 48 Sunday, 50 Monday before Christmas. That's already pretty chilly, but even colder weather on the way after we try to warm up Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, we're going to try to climb back into the 50s in Atlanta. Does not last long. Looks like the ETA for that kind of strongest portion of the cold front, the coldest part of that air mass, it's Thursday afternoon and evening, and then after that is when the real cold weather really kind of filters in and its grip. is felt across North Georgia and in metro Atlanta. Let's go ahead and actually show you a place where we can take out the forecast even longer. That is going to be atlantanewsfirst.com/weather. You're looking at that page right now. So if you go to atlantanewsfirst.com, all you have to do is click First Alert Weather. That's the screen you are now. You can see Jen's forecast from this evening. Scroll down below the current conditions and you have a variety of different forecasts you can click on the 10-day, and notice how we're going out all the way to Christmas Eve now. That high 44 degrees next Thursday, but a high temperature, peak temperature of 30 Friday the 23rd, 31 Saturday the 24th, and we're forecasting temperatures to possibly remain in the 30s again Sunday afternoon. That is Christmas Day Sunday, with low temperatures in the teens and 20s. So it is going to be a very, very cold, perhaps record-breaking cold holiday season Christmas Day across much of North Georgia and in metro Atlanta. We want to make sure you're getting the latest First Alert forecasting up to date with the weather as it changes. Of course, alterations to that forecast are very likely over the next several days. We're looking at the Facebook feed there. Not too many new comments. Wesley Millsap, thanks for watching. Also monitoring that YouTube feed. Folks commenting in. And thank you for the viewership, both on YouTube and on Facebook. If you're watching on Roku, Amazon Fire, atlantanewsfirst.com, clicking that live stream link, appreciate the viewership. But if you do have a question that needs to be answered, clarification on the forecast, or maybe you're traveling somewhere outside of North Georgia, we can touch on that part of the forecast as well on YouTube, Atlanta News First, and on Atlanta News First, the Facebook page. You don't even have to like or follow those accounts, though. We would appreciate that, of course, to be alerted to further live streams like this in the future. But you can always just follow along for the moment and communicate, ask your questions, address any comments, concerns that you may have. So again, here's that forecast. We're back in the 40s with sunshine. Saturday, Sunday, Monday afternoon, it's either in the upper 40s or struggling to hit 50. And it's not just the cold, it's the wintry weather we're going to be watching the potential for, something that we are going to be watching not just today, not just tomorrow, but it's going to take a while to really narrow down this particular forecast and get a better idea as to how cold it gets, number one, how long the cold air lasts, number two, and then, of course, probably what most people are most concerned about is how great is that risk of wintry weather. And we can kind of dive into that now, talk a little bit more about it. And we're going to switch weather graphics here. I'm going to bring you to a different view, and we'll talk about some of the cold air that is up in Siberia right now. And that's giving confidence that we have colder air that will plunge into the United States. You know, there's two things we look at when talking about cold air, especially the extreme cold getting this far south and east, especially this early. And technically, it's not even winter until Wednesday or so, but this early in the cold season. The number one question we ask is there cold air up here in the source region, or where that cold air is moving in from? And that is absolutely the case. We're looking at a temperature of -50 at Yakutsk Airport. That's in Siberia. Yakuta -22, -17 in Mold Bay, -7 in Robertson Lake. It is always cold up here this time of year. But even by these standards, in Siberia, -50, that's pretty chilly, and areas that don't even have sensors that we can get the data from have been -60, -70, -75, with wind chills even colder than that. So even by their standards, this is pretty exceptionally cold. So that's the answer to the first question. Is the air up there even that cold? And it is. And then what we watch and what we need to be answered is there anything that can deliver that cold air this far south and east? Is there a mechanism that's going to allow that cold air to spill south and eastward over the next several days? And there is. The jet stream is going to change, and it'll kind of configure in a way that's going to allow the coldest of the air to move across the North Pole into northwestern Canada, and then kind of slowly bleed its way, so to speak, back into portions of the northwestern United States, the central United States, east of the Rocky Mountains in particular, and then on into the southeastern U.S., the eastern United States, of course, where we are most concerned about here in North Georgia and in metro Atlanta. Already getting a little taste of that as that flow turns out of the north and west. You can see colder air spilling down the spine of the Rockies, Intermountain West, picking up some of the cold too. Big snows up there the past couple of days, and some of the snow could get into some of the big cities up in the Pacific Northwest, a little unusual for them as well. But then the coldest of the air will shift to the south and to the east. So again, pretty high confidence that that cold air is, we know it's up there, but also confident that that cold air is going to be delivered into the United States from the north and west as the jet stream changes here over the next several days. So to sum all of that weather talk up, basically, question number one, is the air up there cold? Yes, even colder than normal by their standards. And then number two, is there a mechanism, a thing that's going to allow that air to sink southward, to be delivered to us? And it is looking like the answer to that second question as well is yes. So we're going to get cold, but the thing that we are most uncertain about is, does a storm system accompany that cold air? Do we have multiple storm systems accompany that air? And how much of any sort of wintry weather impact do we have? And that has TBD. It is unknown at the moment, not quite sure how that pans out. There's a lot of uncertainty. This is a complex forecast. Obviously, that's kind of the understated part of all this. It's a complicated forecast, very many moving parts, and that'll determine exactly how we are impacted to the extent of, rain, snow, freezing rain, sleet, that kind of stuff. But we don't have an easy yes or no answer for you, just something we're going to be watching here for the next several days. Checking back in on Facebook, the Atlanta News First account. We'll go ahead and pull up the latest, and we'll go ahead and also, while we're here, refresh that feed, because I think we might have a couple new comments coming in. And no, it actually is pretty quiet there at the moment. Hopefully you all are getting your weather questions answered. Reminder, atlantanewsfirst.com. That's the page you're looking at right now. Forecast goes out not just 7 days, but a full 10 all the way into Christmas Eve, and there is the real chill. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, days leading up to Christmas. Cold air, bitterly cold air, potential to break some records filtering back into North Georgia, Metro Atlanta. The big question at the moment is, does it include snow, freezing rain, sleet? Those options on the table, yet to be determined. I would say right now, just a low chance, a low risk. But it can't be, taken off the table. We can't rule it out just yet. So something we're going to be watching pretty closely here for the next several days. And we'll continue to keep you updated, not only at atlantanewsfirst.com or a digital stream like what you're watching right now, but also we'll be keeping you updated in the Atlanta News First Alert Weather app. It's a free and it's an easy download, and I really do mean that. I have it on my phone as well. Atlanta News First, you search First Alert Weather in your app or Google Play Store. If you see us on TV, you can scan that QR code in our banners or upper right-hand corner of the newscast when we're doing the weather, or you can just go to atlantanewsfirst.com and click on our apps page, and you'll be linked, whether you have an Android or an iPhone, you'll be linked to the proper download page. And I do think that that's going to be a good resource for you, because not only do we have some good information for the daily forecast there, but also looking several days out as we continue to monitor and fine-tune that forecast, whether it's about winter weather or anything in the future. Of course, we will continue to update you there, and you don't even have to go to a TV screen necessarily to get the latest on the forecast. You have it there in the palm of your hand, no matter where you are. We're all busy, right, getting ready for Christmas. And we're back on TV here in just a little bit, also streaming in that same app at 9 p.m., 10 p.m. hour as well with First Alert meteorologist Fred Campagna. We're going to start to have some new data coming in late this evening. He'll have the 11 o'clock a half hour on Atlanta News First. And again, the entire team, we're here to keep you covered into and through this holiday season, no matter what the weather brings, whether we do get the winter weather or we don't. We can guarantee the cold, and we'll have the specifics and any changes to the forecast. Probably going to be a sneaky surprise or two from Mother Nature over the next several days. You can get those updates at atlantanewsfirst.com, news app, weather app, and of course on TV. We'll leave you with a live look outside across the connector. It's a cold but gorgeous evening, Midtown Atlanta. That full forecast coming up on TV and across streaming platforms in about 35 minutes.